Hello everybody and welcome back to Mate Night, where we are re-ranking the IMDb Top 250.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right.
Probably what we're up to at the minute.
Close enough.
It's going to take us 25 years on current predictions.
We're comfortably in B. I wouldn't say comfortably. We're in B.
We are...
One
we
film
are
into
in B. Yeah, we're in BA because today is Batman Begins. Christopher Nolan, 2005.
Yeah, exciting.
I think it was an 8.2 on IMDb. So
is that right? I didn't
good.
actually recheck.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what it really scores.
Yeah, exactly. So what we'll do is we'll figure out what it actually is the correct score together.
Yeah.
And then we have a few segments. Do you want to give us a little teaser, Freddie? What we got in for today?
Teaser, we have what happened to Katie Holmes. We've got an average decade score, working out whether this is a real 2000s time capsule and whether there are outliers across the decades from the films that we've scored. We got a little touch point on Batman's voice and the interesting choice of the voice, and then League of Shadows versus later villains in the series. Potentially wrapping up with some accents if we have some time.
If we have time. So, starting off with the score. Let's get straight into it, Freddie. Have you got your score ready?
I've got a score.
Right, okay. On the count of three, you give me your critical score. So this is everything tied into one, what you think it deserves to get this film.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
7.8.
7.7. Oh, that's very close.
All right, you go first.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out, I'm really stuck on this one because I think there's a lot of really good things about this film, but it's just, for me, very goofy in a lot of ways. There's a lot of goof going on.
What sort of goof are you thinking?
Just like deliveries of lines where he'll go like, he'll reveal that he's spoilers, by the way, to anybody who's like watching, listening to this,
listening to a Batman Begins podcast and hasn't seen it yet.
Like he'll reveal that he's Batman by saying his line, and then he'll jump off the building in like this really weird way. Or there's like one shot that really stood out to me where Batman is fighting Liam Neeson's character Ducard on the train.
Or Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. What? No.
sorry. I almost forgot that we'd given away that we were doing spoilers for the great reveal.
There's they're fighting on the train, and there's just this shot where Batman like stabs the switchboard at the front, and just the way he does it is goofy as fuck. The entire Katie Holmes performance is just like complete goof.
You're pretty anti Holmes, which seems to be not an uncommon opinion.
I just thought she just had no understanding whatsoever of like any of the actual character's emotions in a scene, and she would just deliver them like a 2000s kind of like supporting role delivery, where it's like she hadn't even read what was going on in that scene.
Yeah, she's not an all-time performer.
No.
But also, interestingly, her being kind of replaced by Maggie Gyllenhaal, who I think, without wanting to be kind of outrageously thin-skinned or surface level, more people would probably say Katie Holmes is there for the looks, I guess, than Maggie Gyllenhaal. And yet Maggie really does bring like some energy to the character that just works really well in the second film. So, yeah, something we can talk about later as well.
But rant over, because I did give it the same score as Citizen Kane. It's
which wasn't cartoony enough.
Which needed more goof. I thought that there was some just insane performance. Like I just saw Cillian Murphy was just incredible in every single scene he was in. Christian Bale's obviously just a badass. I thought Liam Neeson was great fun. I really liked him.
Yeah, probably my favourite performance.
You reckon? Really?
Yeah, maybe.
Nice.
Okay, he just carries himself. He's just a great magnetic presence as a villain.
So much presence. Yeah, it's crazy. I thought the plot was good fun. It was the Batmobile is obviously badass. I love a good origin story where we find out kind of how the mechanics of this character comes to happen and how that might actually work. And in this film, I really feel like they go to some length to justify how he gets away with spending this much money on this equipment and things like that. Like they really try to establish it working logistically.
Yeah, which as someone who's only watched this film once before prior to this, that is something that it's interesting you point that out, because you do kind of take it for granted in the second film, as well as in like other versions, like the original Tim Burton films and the more recent Robert Pattinson Batman, where he's kind of an established or semi-established Batman already. This is quite interesting that they actually put some thought into, he's not just able to do these ridiculous things because he's a billionaire. There is actually a process that he's had to undergo to get to that point, which is quite refreshing.
It's interesting to see, isn't it? So for me, I feel like this is, look, the goofiness was passable, and there was a lot of really good strong points about this. Some really cool shots, especially at the start of the film in what was probably Tibet or something, I'd guess.
Yeah, I reckon.
It
we'll go
like
with it.
Didn't it? But yeah, I'm willing to look past the goofiness. For me, this is basically like one of the best superhero movies I've watched, but I mean that specifically in terms of the Dark Knight films don't feel like superhero movies to me. They just feel like legit good movies.
Yes.
This is the best of the kind of comic book movies for me.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting point that you make, and to be honest, the way I see it and the way I've evaluated it on the rewatch is it was a great platform film, a great transitional film. And based on a really interesting documentary that I'd recommend watching, which is like an hour and 15 on YouTube, from the Warner Brothers Studios, they released like the making of the full Dark Knight trilogy. And they go into a bit of detail about how they got Nolan on board. Nolan at the time had only released 3 films. He was basically an independent movie maker. And then you're getting the keys to this huge franchise. And 100-200 million budget, which he'd never come close to working with up to that point. And it was very interesting listening to the vision. So a couple of the videos that I've seen on him and how he wanted to approach Batman, like when it was brought to him as an opportunity, people thought, like his producer and people who work closely with him, that he wouldn't be interested. But he said, no, I think there's a story to be told here that hasn't quite yet. And it's very important to understand that at this time, Batman was coming on the back of a 4-film run, which had a definitively high entry point, and the first 2 Tim Burton films were very well received, and it sort of devolved into, once Michael Keaton left, you had George Clooney, you had Val Kilmer, it was Val Kilmer, then George Clooney. By the last film, which is like one of the, I guess, low points in superhero cinema history, Batman and Robin, I think it's called. You're talking about just an absolute piss take, cartoony bonanza, which is, terrible, cheesy dialogue, awfully like cartoonish script writing and plot. Yeah. Just a film that's in the 90s but belongs in like a 50s or 60s television show for kids, and effectively is only there to sell toys and for marketing purposes. So there was this real divide around, should we refresh this series? And what they did is, as they say in the documentary, quite unprecedented. They basically reboot an already established series, which for us now seems kind of really commonplace because it happens all the time. We've had about 6 versions of Spider-Man the last like 10, 15 years. At the time, that apparently was not common. It's like one of the first early examples, and the way that Nolan approached it, which I think is kind of reverting back to your original point that's interesting, is he realized like there is probably a responsibility to not just completely ignore the legacy that had just preceded them, and so some of the more cartoony elements are kept, while still aiming to make what would be a great film, not just a great superhero movie, which I think most people would agree. I certainly feel this way. It sounds like you do as well. They achieve that in the second one, while still like you got to give some respect to what they were trying to do in this one as well.
I don't think that there was bad craftsmanship at all in the way that this came across as cartoony. I think that it's really interesting that because it does feel like a really good cartoon comic book film. Do you know what I mean? It feels like, whereas the Dark Knight films don't feel as much like comic book films. They feel like almost just completely films in their own standing. So, yeah, very interesting. Did you want to move on to segments? We're at 10 minutes or
10 minutes. Well, with that in mind, was there anything that you really hated, goof-wise?
Not massively. No, there wasn't. I thought that so we've just done Avengers as the kind of our regular community who tunes in every single week will know.
Rachel.
And one of the things that we said about that was the villain's plot, the villain's strategy, let's say, and solution to the problem is like incredibly like, sledgehammer, like you've not thought this through
Which
at all.
Makes that's such an egregious example, and we don't want to
really
detract too much from what we're talking about today. But just to reiterate how stupid it is, he could have literally done anything in the universe, and he was wedded to the idea of destroying half of everything for no actual reason. Does
So
seem to be a bit of a
stupid.
silly thing to have done.
Goodness me, yeah. So anyway, what were we talking about?
Let's go.
Fuck
Avengers.
Thanos. No, I think the League of Shadows thing. Like, I do think. Look,
it's the justice point that you like. Their approach to justice being the balance requires. I guess the extreme of death rather than.
Yeah, so like, look, I think that there's a lot of very good philosophy in this. I just felt like the final practical, action step at the end of it for the League of Shadows meeting was, so therefore we should kill everyone in Gotham. It's like Gotham's so bad because everyone's hungry and dying, and it's like, why don't we just make them all go insane and kill each other? It's like, that's going to 10x the problem,
Especially
not solve it.
They've kind of referenced that they've been quite subtle in the background, like puppeteering all of world politics, and now they're going to release a nerve agent into the city. You know what? An interesting point from that for me does detract from the whole plot is the fact that they do quite a good job of grounding it in semi-realism. Like, yeah, it's a secret society of ninjas, but they are to be taken very seriously. We must seriously respect how they influence the shadows. You kind of get on board with that. You get on board with a man dressing as a bat because of the theatrics, because of how cool they make it when he first gets introduced. But then you do get, like, the big juxtaposition between that and the fact that, okay, we've got a secret chemical that turns everyone crazy. And instead of just like finding, a more normal way of just dispersing it into the water supply, it is imperative that it has to be airborne otherwise it's not going to work, by the way, unless it's airborne. Luckily, we've got this super machine that turns everything that is water into gas. Apart from things like the water in our bodies, of course.
Oh, fuck, I thought
it's only the water's in the plumbing.
Oh, shit.
The water all around us. Like, surely if you've got a mega weapon, by the way, and a weapon of mass destruction that can immediately evaporate and make gaseous all water in the environment around it, you'd have thought that would also just immediately turn everyone into a big ball of jelly.
Fuck, I hadn't even thought this.
No, it doesn't go that far. That would be ridiculous.
As long as you haven't had a glass of water recently, you should be fine. You won't have steam coming out your ears.
So I did think, the end, they had a lot that they were trying to pack in, and they obviously didn't. They wanted a bigger one-upsmanship than just the Scarecrow being the main villain.
Yeah.
But it may have been better to... in hindsight, it may have been better to have like the Scarecrow as a main villain and potentially make Ra's al Ghul more of a player in later films.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that the Dark Knight shouldn't have been made, because obviously the Dark Knight is fantastic.
Insanely good films.
One gripe that detracts from the overall experience.
But I would want to finish on a positive, which is like I don't know whether I can say this with complete confidence, but this was probably the Cillian Murphy performance that really stood out to me the most watching it. Really?
That's interesting. Why?
I just think there was the way that he listened. You know what he does well in all of his performances? The way he listens to other characters. His facial expressions whilst other characters are talking communicates so well. A kind of character that feels both cooler than reality and yet also like human and authentic and realistic. And I just think it landed so well as the bad guy. And
I get where you come from. I think that point about his reactive performance is really, really spot on. There's a few moments where that exact thing is happening, and you know how it's obviously something that directors notice, because they more often than not will have his face in shot when someone else is talking, and they're like, "Well, like that just is such a vote of confidence in the fact that this guy's so much better than the person who's opposite, and we're not even going to show the person who's speaking." So yes, I would say that. I mean, a good example of a Nolan film, which I think he does a better performance in, is I think he's excellent in Inception.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
and I think that where he comes a tiny bit, I wouldn't say unstuck, but here, what makes this performance less exceptional for me than that one is the utter craziness maybe isn't his best look. Like, going all out, I'm an absolute nut job. He isn't necessarily as good as that at that as he is at, like, making realistic performances feel magnetic and charged, like he does in Inception or Oppenheimer or anything like that.
Yeah, you might be right. I feel like it stood out to me the most because it's the most like heavy-handed character that he's performed, when actually like the quality of his performance extends to clearly all of them. It's just in this one it felt much more obvious because it's such a heavy-handed character. It's so straightforward. It's just like, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, he is great. He's great in everything.
So good. Okay, so on segments, very quickly, what did you think of Michael Caine's deliveries of certain lines, Freddie?
Well, I think you're referring there, Jambo, to the infamous never.
No.
There is a great comic bit by a guy called Stuart Laws, who's picked out Batman, a scene from Batman Begins, where Michael Caine is responding to a very deep moment with Bruce Wayne. It happens twice, actually. And
you haven't given up on me yet.
Yeah, it's funny because it happens twice. It happens earlier in the film, and I'm like, I think there's another one of these, because I'm sure he does it again. He does it in the first instance. He has just a very interesting delivery of the word never, where he goes, never. and he does it the first time, it's a bit more subtle. He goes, never.
Yeah.
And then in the second one, like, this is, we're at the almost low point of the whole film, where Bruce Wayne Manor has been burnt to the ground. He's had to be rescued by Alfred from under a burning log, and then he drags him down. The whole house is exploding above them, and he goes, "You haven't given up on me, have you?" Never. And this, I would really recommend anyone who gets a chance to watch Stuart Laws' whole bit on it, where it's a piss take of that scene being shot, where Christopher Nolan's like, "Yeah, let's try that again, Michael. Maybe a bit less harsh on the never." Right, of course. Never, never, never. And they just go back and forth again and again, and it's interesting because, like, it's so funny that he's picked that out, because it's really not that bad. But
it is quite bad. Like, it stood out choice to me. It's like, it's very jarring the way he says it. Like,
yeah, Michael Caine's one of those just classic, I guess, national treasure figures.
Yeah, you got
where he's just been round the block so long. He's done so many films, some great, some terrible. An interesting story about Michael Caine that he's relayed is the fact that, look, if 1 in 10 films you make is going to be a masterpiece, just make sure you make 10 films. So his approach has always been say yes to everything, which is why he's in so many things, which is why he's in so many crap things. But also, one thing that he's famous for is, like, he really puts his all. He tries. He's never the sort of person who you hear like, oh, okay, he didn't show up, he half-assed that. Like, Muppets Christmas Carol is a great example, where he is literally performing with a bunch of, like, puppets, and he gives it, mate. He's great at it. So you got to respect Michael Caine, even though sometimes I would go as far as say I don't really think he's that good of an actor, but
whoa,
but he's like, he's just Michael Caine, isn't he?
He's the best.
He's Michael Caine.
You gotta. I tell you what, you've got to love it when you hear about actors who are being like really fucking professional. You know?
Yeah, you just rate the guy. Double Oscar winner. Like,
wow, really?
Yeah. Never. Never. Okay, cool. So I'm actually quite keen to do your average decade score.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So for people who aren't regular listeners, the initial concept of Mate Night was that Fred and I wanted to basically redetermine what the correct score was for every film. And the way we did that was we would score it in 9 different categories. We would agree on some, and others we would bring ourselves, and we would take the average score.
Yes.
And that would kind of help any real outlier problems, you know, fix itself.
Yes.
Now, we just watched Batman Begins, and for me, it felt very distinctly 2000s to me, and not really like as a strength.
Were you able to identify any specific things as to why?
I'm really sorry, Katie. but like the whole character and performance of that part was kind of one of them.
Kind of wooden, pretty face in a role, like
yeah,
dialogue wise as well. Just
yeah, exactly.
Very much, hammy lines.
Visually. Look, I had less of a problem with it, but it still did feel like it was a 2000s one visually. And there was some, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, no, there are other 2000s films which I feel the same way about.
I wonder what it is about them.
A Beautiful Mind really felt very 2000s in the same kind of way, where it's just it aged kind of awkwardly for me. And what it got me wondering was, we have now got nearly 100 movies in the Mate Night Machine.
Wow.
We're getting there. So are there any significant differences between the performance of the decade? So I've taken the average score for each decade, and I'm going to ask Fred what he thinks is the worst scoring decade. Now, this is an outlier, and you might be able to work it out. So what is the worst scoring decade of films in the Mate Night Machine?
I would say that... Okay, so it's going to be one of the bookends. We generally only watch like good films if they're older, like so I'd expect that films from the 70s, which I know we've had a lot of very good films in there, will be near the top. That might be my soft guess for the top, would be 70s. Outlier for worse, so it's either going to be like a 40s with a Citizen Kane, or either 2010s or 2020s.
There is a massive outlier. One of them is considerably worse.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the... I'm going to chuck out... I know Citizen Kane. 40s.
Okay, so your logic was very sound, but it's not. It's the 2020s.
Okay.
Because we're watching the films coming out, and so we're not watching the kind of filtered classics.
Well, I knew that was going to be the case, but I didn't know if we'd only done like one film from the 40s, and it was Citizen Kane. Having said that, I'm pretty sure Citizen Kane did end up getting a very good score. We only gave it...
It got the same as my Batman Begins score, 7.7.
Yeah, so it's only because we gave it like not great gut reaction scores, because we didn't enjoy it that much.
Because it's fucking boring.
Because it's boring and old and shit.
So 2020
Citizen Kane.
No, it's a terrible film.
Oh yeah, it's crap.
So 2020's scored considerably lower, average of 6.7 out of 10, critical score. The other major outlier with the 2020s is every single other decade we've done 10 or less films in. In the 40s and the 50s there are only 2 films. In the 90s and the 2000s we've done 10 in each of those. In the 2020s, 31 films we've done.
In the 2020s?
In the 2020s with the worst score. Okay. So you asked about the 1940s. Actually, they aren't even close to being the last place, because the second last place is 2010s. Okay. With a 7.4, and then we bunch up from here. So 1980s brings in a 7.5, and then 1990s and 1940s both get a 7.7 together.
Okay.
Which leaves us with the golden years by a massive jump up. 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Right. Okay.
8.4, 8.3, 8.4.
Wow.
Massive step up. Now, for the 50s and the 60s, we've only done 2 or 3 films in each of those. But the 70s, we've done 8 films, and they've averaged 8.4 out of 10.
Yeah, okay. So my reasoning on the 70s was correct.
Yeah. Massive best decade by a long way.
I did have a feeling that we'd just done so many, like, so it's The Godfather, it's Chinatown, it's
Jaws,
Alien, it's Jaws.
What, The Thing? Maybe? What?
That's 80s.
Is it? Okay.
1980 or 82, I think.
So the 2 40s films, can you remember what they were?
Well, Citizen Kane and it was All About Eve.
Casablanca. All About Eve was 1950
on the dot.
It was 1950.
I did think, I forgot about Casablanca.
So you were just listing out the 70s. So this is by far the best decade, I reckon, by a long way.
Oh, Apocalypse Now as well.
I'll tell you one that we haven't mentioned. Alien.
Yes, I did.
Oh, did we?
Well,
yeah, we didn't.
I said that.
The Exorcist.
No, I forgot that. Yeah.
A Clockwork Orange
Chinatown.
didn't score too well. Man, the 70s was an insane decade.
Yeah.
Insane. But, okay, so we have proved my null hypothesis wrong insofar as the 2000s is not a massive outlier of a problem decade when I thought maybe it would be.
No, I think it would need to be... So what we'd need to do is identify what about 2000s films gives you that feeling.
Well, okay, so I'll list off which ones we've done.
Okay.
Because there is also a theme of other films which feels 2000s, but not in this awkward, beautiful mind, Batman Begins ways. And that kind of grouping would be Devil Wears Prada, 500 Days of Summer. I guess Bend It Like Beckham really feels like a real 2000s movie.
Film.
Gladiator, aged wonderfully. Just the most incredible film. Absolute 10 out of 10. Team America...
Oh, yeah, that's very different.
Superbad. If there's a real range,
Superbad, funnily enough, has like a weird 70s vibe to it. Like the music that they choose, the color scheme.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of an out of time.
It's like they made it in the 2000s, but then they were kind of making it feel like the 70s when they made it in the 2000s. So you got this weird mesh of noughties time capsule with like 70s styling.
So your better question is you've identified that Bend It Like Beckham, A Beautiful Mind, and Batman Begins have this 2000s film feel for you. So you need to identify what is the kind of unique shared factor.
You know what? We might have to watch a few culprits of this.
Yeah.
And get to the bottom of this.
We
problem.
should ask the audience. Audience response.
If you guys are listening and you've spotted the same thing, or you know what we're talking about, and you're like, yeah, this fits that Beautiful Mind, aged poorly 2000s thing.
Yeah, we'll make it simpler. We'll make it super simple for you. You've got 3 films. You've got A Beautiful Mind, Bend It Like Beckham, and Batman Begins. What is it about these films that makes them all feel the same?
What is the 4th film in this pattern?
Yeah, that's it. This is your letterbox for 2000s bangers. Yeah, interesting.
Well, there you go. So there's a little bit of data for you. So thank you very much. Let me just double check the timings for us. So we're on 28:45.
Perfection itself. One sec. Where did Batman Begins come in the ranking?
Batman Begins. Freddie, what score did you give it again, mate?
7.8 or 7.6?
And it was 7.8, and I gave it a 7.7. So I think we know what score it's going to get. Hang on just one sec. 7.8, 7.7. So there you go. We'll try that again.
7.75.
Well done.
Thank you.
That's a man with a third of a degree in economics.
Cheers, brother.
All right, cool. So, Batman Begins has been put through the mainline machine. It got an 8.2 on IMDb.
Yeah.
But in the machine, it got a 7.75, which places it just behind Sinners,
Really?
Devil Wears Prada. Hey, oh.
There we
Another
go.
2000s. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Another 2000s. Just ahead of Superbad, Casablanca. A lot of usual suspects. A lot of names cropping up again.
A lot of names came up in that one.
All of which in the kind of 7.7s.
So what number is it?
7.7. Oh, right. Sorry. 32nd greatest film of all time.
Until further notice. Yeah, very interesting. Good showing from BB, Batman Begins. Looking forward to doing Dark Knight, which I think is under T in our IMDb alphabetical ordering. So that'll be in about 35 years before we get to that one.
Should we just do it? I don't know. Should we just do it?
Well, we're doing next week. We actually know what we're doing. We're doing the Odyssey.
That's
and
right.
we are going to watch maybe all of the Nolan films before
100%.
then.
Yeah,
So-
tune in. This is going to be a big one.
So we will have an idea. We'll mention it. We'll definitely mention it in passing.
Yeah.
Let's commit to mentioning the Dark Knight at one point in next week's episode.
Maybe.
Your lucky listeners,
Right.
get excited for that.
Pay for Patreon for me, please.
Yeah, and we'll have a Patreon where we just do an hour of us going, the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight. Never.
Right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.